boy, Easton, got a family. I would say that's, from a personal perspective, that's what is the next level for Randy.
So welcome to season 3, Corn Warriors.
Get that tanker ready, but I gotta figure out how to get you home.
I mean, the only thing really affects me is kryptonite.
It's June 8th, and it's kind of push come to shove. We're basically planting through some of the wet stuff, around a few things.
My name is Brooks Cardinal, with Cardinal Farms out of Oaktown, Indiana.
Took us a month and a half to plant, pretty much just hours at a time we could work. Finally got through it. We never did get everything planted. We got about 15% of our acres we didn't plant. 2019, everybody called it Plant 19. All the stuck tractors, the stuck planters, everybody had a story, including my son.
This year, I've got stuck like a lot. I've got my high bore sprayer stuck twice, got the quad track stuck, the mower stuck, four-wheeler's getting stuck checking cows. About need to go buy a jet ski just to go check the cows. Yeah, it's been bad. Even the old timers are saying they haven't seen a year like this before, and you know, I guess I'll tell my kids about it at some point, way down the road.
Mother Nature controls us. We just ran until it rained. Wet disaster, if you want to use that word, is worse than a dry year because you have floods that take out all the good acres. You have some of your best land that it sits wet and doesn't get planted. The poorest acres get planted because they're dry, but we went 3 weeks at a time, and then we went about another 2 or 3 weeks. So now when we did get in, we were planting around all the wet spots, which behind me is the reason there's no end rows on this field, is because it was too wet when we planted. Lots of times we only had a few hours, you know, where it would just get dry enough, and you know, they said a rain was coming in 6 to 8 hours, so you go like heck and get done what you can, and there was a lot of planters on the road.
We definitely did not have a typical spring. Normally we get in and start planting the 20th of April, and we're done planting by the end of May or shortly after. This year we almost started at the end of May and finished up planting, actually pushed the limit into the second week of June, some guys did. So we had to rearrange our maturity of corn in a major way.
You know, it's been tough. It's been tough on a lot of Midwestern farmers. I talk to Kevin every once in a while, Cobb, obviously, and he's definitely worse shape than we are. But with adversity comes opportunity. I'm still optimistic.
You have to think positive. They're actually already calling for an early frost, but I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping for the best. As it is, we've got 105-day corn, 99-day corn that was planted the first week of June. Then we even had some cooler weather the first week of June, so it took some time to get out of the ground. Now we have heat. Look at your shirt. And humidity. Definitely.
Strawberry shaking. It's so cool right now. Relax. Come on.
Not stressed.
I have a chain on. Can you guys move the hose this way? I gotta come in on that side of it.
There it is.
Our dealer from Kansas, Grimm's from NutriDrip here. They're going through all the zones. We had to get the pump out, set it in the pond. We have to tie it off with cables, power it up, and then we start pumping water. That's when they start going from zone to zone and checking everything. We're, as always, trying a lot of new things. I mean, we've probably tried 10 or 12 new products this year. We keep doing that to try to figure out what works best for us. One of the TerraNew trials, we're gonna do with and without, and we're gonna tissue sample and see how the micronutrients show up within the tissues. Okay, so we're doing our weekly tissue samples, stopping into one of our fields here, and we're gonna pull a variety of leaves off several rows. So and that would be that leaf on that particular corn plant. So I'm just gonna walk kind of kitty corn around here. I'm gonna get me several leaves, and that'll be our tissue sample that we'll send in, and we'll kind of see where our levels are at. Oh, we put a dry banded nutrient load out here in a band after it was planted, and we should have had enough rain to where some of that's showing up, or I'm hoping it is. So that's probably enough for a good sample. So we'll bag them up and label them, and then we're off to the next field that we're going to check. So in our bags we label, I fill out most of the stuff later, but they want the stage of the growth, and that corn is V7, and then my field name, and then our trial number. And make sure you get your paperwork right. Okay, on to the next one. Tissue samples are a very valuable tool that we use, and you can tell a lot of things by them, but don't go off of 1 week's samples. Do not take 1 week's tissue samples to the bank. Use the tool, but use it over multiple weeks to figure out what you need to do. Hopefully our yields are adequate, and we'll get a better price than we would have if we'd had good yields, and hopefully our net dollars will be close to the same. We can still make money this year. It's a harder year to do it though. It's more challenging on your mind, on your body. When you gotta go and you can't stop.
Holy smokies. Me and Emmy was down there in that far corner there. Finally got into good running. Got the old precision high-speed planter. Planting 12 mile an hour. I told Emmy, I said, we seen a big cloud coming over there, and I said, Mother Nature, you are not gonna beat us. We are gonna plant that. We just had 10 acres just started down there. Well, it started raining, and I said, well, we're gonna see who's more hard-headed, me or you, Mother Nature. Well, she won. By the time I got up here, we was raised up, and we were cutting roots in the field about that far. We didn't know we was gonna get out or not. So I've learned my lesson. I am never gonna mouth off Mother Nature, because she can win. So, get across the water. If it'd be a green one, we'd probably be stuck right here in a little bit of water. Uh-oh. Sean pulled this up and she left the key on. Dead her in the door now. What'd you shut it off for?
Maybe I should replace the batteries and keep on them. Are those new batteries, or do I need those some that probably need to be replaced?
Completely dead.
Well, I was in a hurry.
12-9. 13. I've learned whatever time you think it is to start, just wait. Very low voltage, no.
Maybe I should just buy some batteries and keep them on hand, huh?
Oh, you dirty heifer. Hour of jump start to son of a finally starts. This has been a super tough spring on us. We should be done with everything. Should be about done posting all the corn by now. We're still planting corn. I think the family all knows that. And they're all chipping in, you know, the kids help with the turkeys there when they were big. And, you know, I think that's why it's more important to have family. They take a little bit more into it than just a paycheck. You know, we don't really see a big yield difference between the no-till and the conventional. A perfect world farm, I'd no-till everything. And we are set up probably where we could do a lot of that with the wide drops and the road cleaners and the 2x2 placement there. But the problem is we're corn on corn, we're under river bottoms, so we just lose too much residue. You can see where all this stuff's dead, where you go from up there. Where it's dead is normally where water's been. I don't know if since April 1st we've had more than 5 days that it hasn't rained. That's about the way we've worked everything this year, freaking wet. We normally start planting April 1st, we can. We're about June 10th already. So 70 days and we can't find the days to plant. And it's not really because the river has been flooding us. I mean, here it don't flood too bad. It just rains every 3 or 4 days. About an inch, 2 inches every time. I mean, that's what we really see the biggest thing about tiling is, you know, we can treat a ground like contest, but if it's flooding or lays wet, it don't matter. You know, it's all about the microbial activity, and if you have wet, saturated ground all the time, you're just not going to have that microbial movement. The hills, basically, you tile them just to catch them springs. The bottoms, especially if you got a lot of flat area around them, they just, normally the better the dirt's most of the time in our area, the heavier it is, and the more clay you got. Clay is so hard for water to go through, so that's why you put tile in the bottoms, just to have a place for it to escape. Something like today we could run. See if that corn's coming up that we planted. This was the last planting, yeah. This is where we about got buried down here. It's spiking. Starting to come up. Part of it. I feel how hard that ground is. Just got packed in there. Well, that'll be another replant. Don't even see hardly anything here. If we could get planted here within next couple of days, I still think this would have no problem making 270, 80 bushel corn. Well, let's go back.
For nearly a century, AgriGold has been the choice of corn and soybean growers bold enough to go and grow their own way. AgriGold brings the agronomic recommendations and resources growers expect from a larger seed company, combined with a first-hand, in-the-field understanding of the areas we serve. Our global breeding program and local yield results stack up against anyone when it comes to delivering at harvest. It's not luck, it's science. Be bold, go gold.
Liberty did a wonderful job. One thing it's important to know, if you're going to use a particular trait or chemistry to kill your weeds and you have a resistant trait of a hybrid like corn, we use Liberty to kill the weeds in this corn and soybeans. Well, we didn't actually put Liberty corn in all the hoppers. So understand that when you go to fill your planter. We have Liberty resistant corn here, Liberty susceptible corn here, and we use Liberty. We didn't kill the corn, so we're giving it a chance to come out of it. If we see to where the corn is not going to make, then we're just going to plant soybeans into it, and then we'll have a new study. We'll have a planting date study of soybeans. So we're always studying something here. Just some poor judgment on my part on this. Even Wrenwood Farms screws up on occasion. That sucks. Hear the bees? You hear them? Yeah? Yeah. Well, obviously they're over in where it's flowering. We don't need bees to pollinate, but they like the, you know, they're just doing their thing. Well, you can really see how dry we are. Corn's really struggling. The idea of the intercropping is that the sunlight effect should actually happen in the first couple rows because we don't have corn right here. We would hope that we'd get multiple ears on this plant and the next plant, and then the next plant would do okay and the rest of it would be average corn. This is usually a pretty good farm here, but not quite right now. So let's see, what growth stage would we be at? We're at V12, almost 13. When you plant your seed, the first 2 leaves are already determined in the seed. So they already know what they're going to be like. So we're just trying to trick the plant to have as many kernels on it as possible. So we try to maximize fertility early, and we try to trick it and give it a little bit more later. And that's to say, okay, I got enough fertilizer, I can express myself as long as possible. Yeah, you can see the yellowing of the leaves now here too. So it's just starting to run out of juice. You know, water and fertilizer. So just giving its thing up.
Here's how it works. Everybody that's in the group gets to meet with me and David at least 4 times a year. We discuss yield maps, soil samples, tissue samples, how to set up a planter, how to set up a combine if those questions come up, when to spray, what to spray, how to spray, products to buy. We cover it all.
Being part of the next level, it's opened the growers' eyes to the mistakes that they've been making that are easily fixed.
A soybean, look at that root. A tap root is supposed to go straight down. And a lot of that's determined by the seed treatment. If you have a disease or something, then the root has a tendency to curve, or if you have a compaction or hard pan, then it won't penetrate it. But taproot's supposed to go straight down. Then you start counting trifolates, 3 leaves, so branches. The blooms are only at the joints, so you don't get blooms in the middle. We had some here, you got here on the branches, and the idea is try to stimulate as many of those. And we like them compacted, real close together, because they're starting to stretch out here. And we use a product called Mollyron. It's got some molybdenum and iron, and that helps keep the nodes packed tight. The later you plant, the less nodes you're going to get. So if you know you're planting late and it only blooms at nodes, then you just punch out a calculator and say, well, I got to plant my beans thicker. So when you plant them full season, like these were, they're going to branch off and you're going to get more nodes on the, not the main stem, but some of the branches. Cut all these raised roots. Should have brought a saw. You can see some of the discoloration. This should be really clear, whitish color. See how it's kind of brownish color right in there? This part is working really well. See how clear that is? But then when you start looking on the edge. So that's why we got these extra set of roots. We'll get out here a little closer, get out in the open and look better. We'll compare this chemistry next to the headline amp. All right, let's get out of here. I need a drink of Mountain Dew. All right, this is the secret to high yielding corn. We've tried it. Just a little bit of Mountain Dew per plant. We just pulled them up. They weren't side by side. Well, let's try to get, I cut them at ground level, right? Okay, what do you see here? Look at the ears. Are they not on the same height? Isn't that awesome? Or pretty close to it?
Yeah, pretty close.
You know what that means, y'all? We checked the first box on planting. We got the corn to come up uniform and the ears are the same height. So that just goes to show you, if you can check the first box, getting your plants to come up uniformly by finely tuning your planter, you should get that. That's exciting. We know that we had good emergence.
For over 65 years, Brandt has been helping growers achieve better results. We bring the very best plant health and fertilizer solutions to the farm. Through research and innovation, we help growers implement new practices that improve the quality and abundance of food, fuel, and fiber around the world. Brandt, professional agriculture. Visit Brandt.co for more information.